It's like Ren and Stimpy, how they had the fake commercials in between, like for
Oh,
log.
that's right. I love that. I
Yes,
love that. Yeah, we need more of that in the world, like where there, could be I don't know, like all kind of close to being real, but not quite. You
exactly.
know.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to In the Corner with Zach. I am Zak Shellhammer, marketing strategist here in Reno, Nevada, and I am joined today, first time ever that I'm not physically in the corner with somebody. I'm in the digital corner with Greg Bro, author, and many other, I'm sure, talents that we will find out. Welcome.
Hey, good to see you from my own corner of the internet.
Yes, exactly. What corner are you coming from? Where are you located?
Yeah, I live around Minneapolis, Minnesota. So it's one of the few times of the year where it's actually bearable outside right now. You don't have to wear like 12 layers, which is good.
Amazing. Yes, here in Reno, Nevada, it was really warm, and now it's like freaking freezing already, and it's dang near June. So
So what is freezing there?
it is like today is 49. So that's
Oh, okay, that's yeah, that's cool. That's like sunbathing weather in Minnesota,
yeah.
but
Oh, sounds so very pale.
yes, yep.
So we met doing a life coaching course with Lumia,
Yep.
and I'm allowed to say that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
I didn't hear like thunder outside or anything, so I think we're okay.
good. No, no ominous coaching music here. And I thought everybody in our cohort was amazing, and I would love to talk to all of them. But you've achieved like the story that I usually am talking about with entrepreneurs embracing their authenticity and going out on your own. You were in a corporate position, and like a lot of us, like in a good, probably a good situation,
Hmm.
and you decided to just chuck it all and write a book. Tell me
Well,
about
that's
it.
not exactly how it all
Exactly how that
shook
happened.
out.
Okay.
We had a conscious uncoupling. Is that what Gwyneth
Ooh.
Paltrow, how she described it,
Yeah.
with Chris Martin? You can kind of tell when you're in a place where it feels a little misaligned to your values. And I
Mm.
think as I get older in life, it's more important to me to be in spaces that feel more congruent with my integrity. And so getting time away from that space to really decipher the sensorial part of my human experience, I found I was like drawn to like creating something that felt more meaningful than some of the KPIs that manifest themselves in the corporate world. And to me, that was adding value into a space that matters a lot to me, children. I thought about, emotions and feelings and things that can be really difficult for kids to articulate. One, because they don't have the language to talk about some of those big emotional ideas, and it's harder for parents to articulate that stuff too. So that was kind of the genesis of the series that I have created since then, which is the Every Shape Emotional Literacy series, and yeah. Oh my gosh. Nice segue.
Holding the book
And
up, right? You know?
and
I was
and
doing
I
some
can just
light
tell by
reading while I
the
was waiting for you. Yeah.
and it just feels more me, that work. Like it doesn't feel like work when I'm doing that stuff, and
Mm.
it feels um it feels like it's what I'm supposed to be doing when I'm doing that kind of work. And I'm at the beginning of the journey, so it's mostly looking uphill, as opposed to being at the top looking down. But it's such a fulfilling journey that I'm excited about the trek ahead, I guess.
How long were you in the corporate world?
Gosh, 20 plus years.
Forever.
Yeah, really long time. I've been a UX designer and a UX leader. I don't even know what to call myself in the field anymore. It feels like the labels kind of change, but I was a person who helped design experiences for people to solve problems and accomplish tasks.
Tell me about how one makes the decision, because I've talked to a lot of people. I mean, I coach a lot of
Mhm.
people, consult with business owners, new business owners, folks that are jumping from the paycheck to writing their own paycheck.
Hmm.
And it's usually scary. I think yours was, it felt scary, but could you tell us
Hmm.
how you came to that and how hard was it?
Yeah, well, I think kind of being in the moment, post was kind of thinking about what do I want to do? Do I want to go to another uh, corporate situation, or do I want to use this as an opportunity to do something more fulfilling? And it just felt like a moment to take that opportunity to bet on myself instead of just doing kind of the more traditional resume polish, reach out to your network thing. And so I decided to embark on creating a children's book, but also like getting into the coaching. We met at a life coaching course, and that's always been, coaching and developing talent has been a part of my day job that I loved. Like that was really my favorite part of my last couple of years of leading teams. And it felt, you know, not knowing fully where I wanted this next leg of my journey to go. I knew like coaching and developing would probably be a part of it in some way. So that felt pretty natural. But I've been an animator and a filmmaker for years, but I've never really like approached it in a way where I tried to monetize it. And this felt like a moment to think of areas that kind of need value via storytelling or some of the skills that I bring to the table. And so I took a shot and tried to tell a story in a medium that's pretty new to me. And people responded to it, and I felt like that was a signal I needed to hear or see to keep going on the path. You know?
Why children's books? Why passionate about children's books?
It felt like I mean, partly because I'm a parent and I have
Mhm.
children who are, kind of encountering some of the same themes and issues that I'm about in my books. Um, but it just felt like a gr- I think a lot about my day job is about simplifying the complex. And what I try to do in my stories is take something really complicated like belonging or feelings or making mistakes or resilience and convey it in a way that a little kid could understand. Like see if there's something there. It could be boiled down to its essence and conveyed through some kind of narrative or visual such that a little kid could understand it, or a parent or a teacher could have an inroads to a discussion on that topic. I've written stuff before that has been more comedic in nature. Usually, that the outcome you're looking for is I want to make somebody laugh or I want to distract them for like 2 minutes. But with this, I really wanted them to feel something or think about something or learn something. And it was kind of felt like I don't know, like natural progression of my storytelling journey up to this point to take on a challenge like that. Um, yeah, yeah, just
And you
and it
illustrated
excuse me to
yourself?
draw like silly stuff. I like drawing silly stuff anyway. It feels more appropriate for kids
It's
and just
really
felt
good.
kind of
It's
natural.
really, really good. Like your characters are so cool.
Well, thank you. Yep. Well,
And
like,
I
shapes
suggest,
is
I
like one
mean,
of the things, the first things that like little kids learn about, and it's like such a great entry point into some of the stuff is like, connecting with a shape and applying some kind of narrative or theme onto a shape.
I should, first, I only got this book because you've already got a second book, as I understand. But
Hmm.
every shape has a place. I should just hand this to every coaching client of mine immediately when we meet and be like, first this, because just the message, it's not just, it is for kids, but that's what I'm telling people all the time about authenticity. And that's the
Yes.
first thing most people come to me with in consulting is I'm doing this thing and I want to make money doing this thing, but I have to be this certain shape or I have
Yep.
to look a certain way. And the shape in the book is going through learning like there's a place for everything. And that's what
Hmm.
that's like the first month of consulting with most people is like you don't have to be a certain way, fit in a certain shape to a
Yep.
certain hole to make it in any business. You can be yourself.
Yep.
So you're just telling them that from the beginning. So thank you for telling them that
You're
from the
welcome.
beginning. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty universal, you know. I think that sense of feeling out of place or like you're trying to fit your puzzle piece in the right puzzle, you know, we feel that when we're little kids, and we feel that in junior high, and we feel that in high school and college and different jobs. You have those moments where you're like, feel really safe and comfortable and able to be vulnerable. Then other times where it just feels a little off. You're a little out of sync. And I think, you know, that idea and that kind of feeling, uh, something that I was really thinking about a lot between jobs. And it felt, you know, literally like having shapes felt like a natural way to convey that idea to a kid. And the whole notion of, you know, being the right piece, puzzle piece, trying to fit into the wrong puzzle. You know, it's not about like changing your piece. It might just be about finding a puzzle that allows you to be yourself, you know, not having to change who you are to feel like you belong.
So life, yes, it's all life there. How has it been? Because I know I met you basically right when you had just started. So it's
Mhm.
been a couple months, almost a year, possibly. So how are things? Because I
Going
know
really
you're
good.
teaching or you're speaking in schools and other places. So
Yep.
it's looking good.
I'm actually almost 5 months today from the release of my first book.
Oh,
And the second one came out, you know, maybe like 2-ish months ago with like an activity book related to it. And I'm currently working on the third one called Every Shape Makes Mistakes. And it's going
amazing.
really well. Like, I think that like, you know, being able to go into schools and share it with children and teachers has helped me get a sense of what works, what could I do better, you know, how can I show up in those spaces with uh, stories or exercises that can help accentuate some of the themes that come through in the book. I think with each book, I'm going to get better at the craft of telling a story through, you know, like a children's narrative. You know, I'm thinking about what can I tell through the words versus the pictures, where it's not redundant, or how do I, you know, with an animation or a film, you're operating on a timeline and you really have full control as a filmmaker as to how the audience receives that narrative. But with a book, you don't control that. Like, a, it's really kind of up to the reader as to how they experience that narrative. So if you have a moment where you want to like really surprise them or have them feel something, you think about things like when is the page turning? How am I using negative space? How much
Mm,
color am I using? You know, you'll notice in the first book there's a part where it goes to black and it's like really like very stark, but that was a narrative choice to like reflect the emotions of that character in that moment and almost like hit the reader with like a completely different visual approach from what was shown before, which were very colorful, dense pages, and then suddenly, oh, he's alone, and he's like really going inward, you know? Like it's easy to do that with like editing and music and different things that can reflect the emotion you're trying to convey through a film. But with a book, it's different. So it's been fun to kind of learn how to translate my filmmaking sensibilities into a different modality to varying levels of success. I figured by like 42, maybe I'll have to figure it out.
that is, I never thought about that. That's a lot of psychological in there and putting the motion into the pages. That's really interesting. What do your kids think about your books?
Yeah, so it was interesting. The first story I wrote, you know, I wrote it in a Google Doc and got it, you know, kind of flowing how I wanted it to flow and read it to a few friends and they reacted pretty emotionally to it. Then I tried to read it to my kids and it's kind of one of those things where I can't think it's cool because my parent did it. Like, you know, sort of thing, where they're just like, "Can you go away?" But it wasn't until I read it to their grandma and she reacted to it, and by them seeing her react to it, it almost gave them
Oh,
permission to like
sure.
appreciate it and actually sit there and uh,
Oh,
not run it through the filter of my dad made that, you know?
okay.
And ever since then, especially when it actually became a book that you could look at and their pictures, they're little kids. It's like 7 and 3, well, now 8 and 3, but they needed to see it. And once I went to my daughter Olivia's classroom and it became more real, now she's like proud of it, and she
Yes.
wants to
Well,
like help make stories and she's got ideas and stuff. And, it's been a journey though.
amazing. Well, yeah, now dad's cool. Now that you can present.
No, not yet. I mean, he's just tolerable. He's tolerable, not quite at the cool stage, but
They'll get there eventually.
someday, someday, life goals, life goals.
Yeah, where are you hoping to take this? What would you like to see happen?
Yeah, so eventually I'd like to make this the main thing. I want to release, a bunch more every shape books, but I have other story ideas that I want to explore, like different series, different characters. There's also, when I do school visits, one of the things that really excites kids when I visit are the doodling games that we get to play together. So, I do something called Doodle Mash, where we take an animal and an object and then mash them together into like a new thing, and kids just like really respond to it, just the excitement of it, calling out different animals and different objects. And it's really just to get your brain kind of loosened up to be creative. It's kind of something I used to do to get like when I didn't feel very creative, I'd do doodling exercises like that to get the mind loosened up a little bit. But I found with those, I'm probably going to release some activity books related specifically more to some of these doodling exercises, and maybe, part of my site under something called the Doodle Lab, where
Oh,
kids could go and like watch different videos on different doodling exercises, play games, have different prompts and stuff like that. Really just like content that help kids explore their creativity and understand bigger emotional ideas, stuff like that.
what would you say is the biggest challenge that you've had with becoming your own
Yeah.
boss and breaking away, taking that invisible step that we all take that is terrifying?
Yeah, a lot of it is like there's parts of the journey that are a little more natural for me. So like the books, they kind of come easy. Like not easy, but like easier than the other parts of it. But the business infrastructure and the marketing and all those kind of things, you kind of have to learn as you're going. It's like building a bicycle while trying to ride it, sort of
Oh,
thing. And that's been a bit tricky. Um, and kind of building it enough where it's consistent income and consistent like kind of engagement around the content. I've also only got like 2 books, so there's not this whole suite of products yet. But with each step, you learn a little bit more that can help ensure that every subsequent step after that is a little bit more informed. But it's not easy. It's hard. So you kind of have to like really stay consistent and have a sense of what are the success metrics that really need to move forward for it to be a viable business down the road. And I'm not quite there yet, but I've made a lot of progress in 5 months, and I'm pretty optimistic about where things can get a year from now.
I'd say, yeah, that was pretty quick. So I wouldn't have thought it was just 5 months ago that all this was happening. Do you expect to pursue life coaching any?
Yeah, I do. I had a couple months where I was really focused in on the book stuff, and I'm continuing to do that, but I've been getting in more coaching sessions as of late. You're kind of reminded how fulfilling those can be. You're engaging with people who just need somebody to help co-create a path forward for them. And I've been on the other side of that working with a coach, kind of trying to figure out what steps to take against some goal or big challenge. And it's just immensely powerful to engage with somebody. You can ask one question that completely changes how you're thinking about something. And really, at the end of the day, you kind of see that you're able to come up with those solutions, but having a partner to engage you with questions or reframes or different things like that, man, it's so powerful. And it's like working with a kind of a fitness trainer to kind of guide you on your fitness journey, except it's kind of applicable to any goal. A lot of times it comes through with like professional stuff, but there are techniques that can really help you forge a path forward against any life challenge, really.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing business side of stuff for so long. That's why I took the life coaching course and this specific one because it was so in depth and kind of holds on to us forever. Just loved to see the life side of it because I don't usually, while life is part of business, it's not something we really dive into. And that comes into business. And I'm like, I'm not really sure where to take this. So, yeah, the reframes, just the guidance was amazing to experience as well because I've business coached, but I've been coached in business, but I've never been coached in life myself. So to pair off like that, and then ever since to have these practices and more coaching, it's been very
Hmm.
eye opening. Which
Yeah.
back to business though, like, do you have your own tribe of folks? Like, it gets very lonely being an entrepreneur, and I'm sure your family's cheering you on, but do you have
Yep.
anyone you regularly sit down with that you bounce ideas off of that kind of pulls you out of some of those places, those dark black pages? You know,
I
what I did
do. I do. I work with like two really talented coaches. My friend Christiana, she founded a coaching company called Worthy to Lead, and I work with her almost on like a weekly basis. And she's
there.
been somebody that I met professionally. She's been absolutely essential in my professional journey. I also work with a guy. His name is Charlie Caldwell. And he's like a great coach and really versed on the business side of things to kind of provide tactics for thinking about your product and breaking even and how to think about like building your income over time so that you're creating a business and not a charity. I think it's important to like remember that
Well, true.
it comes from a place of purpose, but it needs to make income or it's just a hobby, you know?
Well, for those who have been listening, this is our first in the corner with Zach that is digital, and it has been you probably won't know it too much, but been fraught with errors, and which is what I do, which is why I'm in the corner because it's just supposed to go the way it's supposed to go. But it reminds me, I've been recording since like 2001. Like I did podcasts before they were podcasts, and like that's where I have to be careful about quality now. Is like back in the day we used to tape a phone to the microphone to get Skype to work and record anything because it wouldn't record anything. And so I'm like, this is fine. So if anybody thought that the audio was not good, it's just because I'm from 2001 and it doesn't matter. So
It happens. It happens.
it happens. But we hope that we've given you some amazing information about Mr. Greg Bro and his amazing books, which I will be donating this one. Every Shape has a place, even though I should be saving this for every client that comes through because I think they would benefit. But I will be donating this to the local library system so some kids can enjoy that here in Northern Nevada.
That's great.
Where can we find all of your things?
Yeah, so if you want to buy any of the Every Shape books, you can go to my website, which is broodoptimism.com. They're also all available on amazon.com. Just search for like Every Shape Has a Place, Every Shape Has a Feeling, Greg Bro, and you should get my books coming up, I hope.
Amazing.
But if you do buy them from my site, you can get autographed, all that
Oh,
kind of stuff. Yep.
well, shoot. I'll have to go there for the rest of them. Fantastic. And I know you're in the children's space, but are you ever considered writing a book for adults? Even because you've dropped
Yeah.
several lines throughout this entire podcast where I'm like, that is so good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that up to this point, being in the corporate world, it really worked with a lot of kids. I've worked with people my age or below or a little above, and I think that's kind of the beautiful thing about figuring out how to simplify some of these things in a way for kids. I think it makes it even easier to connect these ideas to adults. Like if you can have a kid understand some of this stuff, chances are you can probably engage an adult on some of these things as well. But I think the narrative that I would want to tell would probably be very related to the moment in time I'm in right now. The things that I'm learning about myself and discovering, I think could probably be of value to a lot of people, probably feeling a lot of what I've felt over the last couple of years in
Oh
the
yeah.
corporate world and beyond. And I think anything that I would express for adults would probably have a lot of material gathered from the last couple of years. And I try to bring it in a way that felt humorous, because I think that's like a big part of my brand, but also like very hopeful and optimistic, but authentic. I would absolutely love to do that, but first I got to figure out this children's book thing. But
Yeah.
absolutely, like the whole idea of brute optimism is that it helps kids, but it's also about helping adults too.
It's a great phrase. I love that. And hey, adults love these amazing looking characters too. So we're
Well,
good
come
with
up from
that.
like
Well, thank you so much for joining me in the corner. It has been amazing.
ditto. Thanks so much for having me. It was great seeing you.
Same. And for those listening, thank you for listening to In the Corner with Zach. You can find all things In the Corner at zakunscripted.com. That's ZAK. And please like and subscribe and do all those things because it helps all the algorithms and gets this out to more people. And share this with those who you think would benefit. So until next time, when you'll find out who's in the corner next.